Creepypastas are the backbone of modern internet horror. Whether you're a fan of creepy no-sleep Reddit readings, incredibly realistic analog TV recordings, or anything in between, chances are the horror content you consume on the regular have, at the very least, taken mild inspiration from Alexandrian works of art like Slender Man, The Rake, Squidward's, Vacation, and many, many others. While creepypasta as a medium has steadily declined over the last decade in favor of more specialized and niche subgenres of horror, its legacy still lives on in the works of art that helped influence the creation, good or bad.
This movie can't make up its mind, and much like Slender Man, I like to scare teenage girls with Snapchat as well.
As well as the various content creators right here on YouTube that got their first big breaks covering creepypasta-related material. So with all that being said, Call of Duty is really shit right now.
I'm gonna rip his goddamn traitor balls off.
Cool off, Harper.
Not the zombies though.
Don't look at me, don't talk to me. If I want to hear from you, you'll know.
It is refreshing to see someone of your... yes, rise above the natural order.
But where are the Call of Duty creepypastas? I mean, think about it. Think about really, really popular video game franchises like Mario and Sonic and GTA. Those all have dozens of hugely popular and influential creepypastas attached to their names. But despite being almost, if not equally as popular as those aforementioned franchises, Call of Duty has next to no viral internet horror stories attached to it. Upon first realizing this, I came to the conclusion that Call of Duty is so shit right now it's actually scarier than any story you could possibly make up. But then it got me thinking. Even if they are on the level of a Slender Man or Sonic EXE, Call of Duty surely has to have some creepypastas of its own, right? And upon furious, intensive research, yeah, it does. It has a lot of them actually.
Oh no!
So I took it upon myself as an esteemed classic Call of Duty creator to review a select few of these classic pieces of literature to answer two burning questions deep inside. Are Call of Duty creepypastas good, and are they worth remembering? But before we can continue on to the evaluations themselves, I want to make it clear that I am in no way trying to make fun or bully the writers behind these stories, who were all most likely very young authors at the time of their creation. I'm of the belief that it takes an incredible amount of courage to even share a story on the internet to begin with, and I'm definitely not what you would consider an authoritative critic on the Call of Duty creepypasta subgenre. This is all just for fun. I am a funny guy after all. So with that out of the way, let's get started with our first and what seems to be the most popular Call of Duty creepypasta on YouTube.
Wow!
Respawn by Flip the Script, who, looking to the search results for Call of Duty creepypasta, seems to have monopolized the Call of Duty horror market on the site with over 12 years worth of stories on the platform. But is he really the GOAT? I guess we're gonna have to find out. This is Respawn. Everybody has an online gamer friend that we've never met in real life, but we're closer to them than our actual friends and sometimes family in real life. I was no different. In 2007, I met this guy named Aaron. His gamer tag was just as bad as the graphics back then, but nevertheless, we had a lot of fun playing. He was like my older brother, considering I never had one. We talked about real life, vented to each other, and we kicked ass in COD 4. Then one day, he just never got back on. We had a much larger gaming group that we sometimes played with. Some said he was arrested for pot. His younger, annoying brother who trolled all the time said he died. Hard to believe that was in 2007, almost a decade ago. Damn, this is an old... When was this was released in what year? Oh shit. It's almost 2 decades ago now. Well, much like cuts on a wound, I'd gotten over that online friendship. Now that I'm 19, I can drive and work and get money. And did I mention girlfriends? So that online Big Brother thing was great for the 10-year-old me. The 19-year-old me, though, was enjoying my young adult life. I enjoyed these memories, though. So why am I telling you this if I said I was over it? Because today is November 3rd, 2016, 11:30 to be exact. And in 30 minutes or so, I'll I'll be installing Modern Warfare Remastered. I think I'll even invite Aaron's gamertag for old time's sake. Hey, I said it was over. I never said I unfriended him. After a few games under my belt, and I felt warmed up, I said fuck it and invited him. To my surprise, he joined my game, but not the party. I thought it was odd, because if you want to play with me, you'd also want to talk to me. After all, I have so many questions. But then he sends me a message. No mic. It's broken. Now it all made sense. Duh. We played a few games and I enjoyed it. Kind of like when you break out your old baseball bat, start hitting baseballs with it. Kind of like when you break out your old baseball bat, start hitting baseballs with it.
Kind of like when you break out your old baseball bat and start hitting baseballs with it.
Good memories and good nostalgia. His mic was odd because it wasn't really broken. It would pick up certain things. By certain things, I mean it would pick up his voice saying when he got a kill. I tried talking to him because his mic was working to pick up numbers.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
I thought maybe he was trolling an old friend. How have you been, Aaron?
20, 21, 22, 23.
I don't understand why he would do this. I continued playing and an hour later I asked a very simple question. Are you happy? That is a very ominous question to ask. Like, I kept Aaron's gamertag, I kept his little brother's gamertag too. I messaged him and said, why didn't you say Aaron was alive? Why won't he talk? I've been playing Modern Warfare Remastered with him. I got a message back from his little brother. All it said was, run! Then after that I got another message, this time from Aaron himself. It had my actual street address. After that it said,
Paying you a visit, little brother. We can talk, just like before I went to war in Afghanistan. Thanks, Cain and Abel.
I knew he wasn't bluffing. We used to DDoS people with the help of a program called Cain and Abel. It would give us the IP address, and if you were smart enough, you could look up the person's real address through the IP. I messaged his little brother back saying, I thought he died or was arrested. He went to the war? I got a message back some 30 minutes after I sent him my message. His said, when he got arrested, they gave him a choice, military or jail. He came back from the war 2 years ago with bad PTSD and was sent to a mental institution. No one knew he broke out until now. As soon as I read that message, I heard a knock on my door, followed by that same door being torn down. All I see is Aaron. Look how old you've become, Aaron. He looks at me with a cold, dead stare, almost like a zombie, a shell of his former self.
100.
So, that was Respawn. For a Call of Duty Creepypasta, honestly, it's not terrible. I think the premise of your former best friend unexpectedly returning after disappearing for 10 years and being corrupted isn't the worst idea for a story revolving around Modern Warfare Remastered, but the execution is just very interesting. I guess the little brother has a massive history of lying about pretty serious things, because why would you assume the brother of your best friend who disappeared is trolling and annoying?
His younger, annoying brother who trolled all the time said he died.
When he tells you that he died. And why would you describe that as getting over your friendship with him?
Much like cuts on a wound, I'd gotten over that online friendship.
I feel like it would take me a long time to get over that if my best friend like disappeared with no trace. And when I mean disappear, I don't mean like just cutting contact. I mean like literally physically disappearing. Granted, it could have been a case of just not having the correct information. since according to his friends, he was also busted for pot.
Some said he was arrested for pot.
But even if the brother wasn't trustworthy, I'd probably trust his account of what happened over completely random people. Even then, honestly, if I were Aaron, I'd also break into his house and kill him.
100.
Which, speaking of how the story ends, I do like how the ending ties together Aaron speaking the numbers into the mic, with him claiming the protagonist as his 100th kill.
100.
But this also raises the question of how the protagonist is narrating the story to us in real time if he's killed at the end of the story. If you're vaguely familiar with old internet horror stories, then you're probably familiar with this trope where they'd have the person narrating the story just fucking die at the end with no real answer as to how they're actively sharing the story with you in the moment. Even if it doesn't make any sense, Respawn at least executes this ending pretty creatively, with Aaron using his and the protagonist's shared knowledge of DDoSing and IP grabbing to locate the protagonist and, collect his dog tag. The way the story builds tension by slowly revealing Aaron's true nature through weird VC comms is also fairly unique and creates intrigue about what exactly happened to Aaron. What possibly could have happened to put him in this crazy murderous state? If the antagonist is actually the real Aaron or some kind of imposter, it's not exactly made clear, but I think explaining that would only make the story worse. Evaluating everything I've summarized, Respawn isn't a terrible story. It's just way more funny than it is scary, which should be expected given the topic. We are talking about Call of Duty Creepypastas, so that isn't exactly surprising, but at least it was a pretty entertaining read. I don't know what to expect from the rest of these stories, but if they're anything like Respawn quality-wise, then maybe we're in for a treat. If I had to give Respawn a letter grade, it would be B-. That's fair, I think. Our second story is not from Flip the Script. I didn't want to overwhelm you guys with only his stories, so instead I chose what, from my understanding, is the most popular Call of Duty creepypasta on YouTube. Round 99 by Freaky Facts. Freaky Facts, yes, that's the name. A lot of you are probably familiar with the popular game series Call of Duty. It's a shoot-'em-up game that puts you in the place of a soldier in the middle of a war. Every once in a while, these games come with a zombie mode. That happened to be this past year with Black Ops 2. One of the zombie maps in the game is called Transit. You start off at a bus station and ride your way through an apocalyptic city. A lot of people have talked about a glitch in the game that allows you to go to a new spot, unseen. You have to make it to round 99, get on the bus, and then you'll arrive at the new destination. I decided to try this with a few people that were online with me. We stayed up from about 11 p.m. to 2 a.m. playing the same game non-stop. After trial and error, we managed to get there.
Darian, the part is laying like right here. Why does my remote die now? Oh my god, what is wrong with this fucker?
The farthest I'd ever gone was to round 72, so I felt kind of proud in a nerdy way. We all sat there waiting for the bus to come after fighting wave after wave after wave of zombies. Once it came, we jumped on and we were on our way. We went through the different checkpoints and landmarks of other stops. We were worried that the glitch wasn't gonna work, but that was up until we passed the final stop. We kept on going beyond that point for about 3 minutes. We weren't sure if that was all it was going to do or not because we just sat there riding on the bus. One of my online friends got impatient and he jumped off to go explore.
Where is it? Oh, it's right here. I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it. Okay, that's lava.
Almost immediately, he was booted from the game. We weren't sure why, because it's impossible to get booted out of a zombie match. No, it's not. But we knew we had gone too far, so we just went on without him. After what felt like 15 minutes, we finally made our stop. It was the complete opposite from what you'd expect. When we got off, it wasn't a post-apocalyptic wasteland, but it was a normal neighborhood in the middle of the night. And the graphics, they were almost too realistic. The normal graphics are pretty real as it is, but this looks like real life, like we were watching a movie or something. In this neighborhood, we looked around our environment. We could hear the faint sounds of dogs barking and grasshoppers chirping. Suddenly, a message came up on our screen. The message read, "Kill the innocent." Then an arrow came up, directing us to follow into a house. It led us to an open window, and when we went inside, curious to see what came up, in the room that we crawled into, a husband and wife laid there sleeping. There weren't any zombies or anything, just two people sleeping in a bed. The arrow was just pointing. One of my online friends instinctively killed them. I asked him why he would do that. "It's only a game," he responded. This was getting disturbing way too fast. The arrow directed us to go through the room to another room, and in this new room was a young boy about the age of 5.
Hello.
"They want us to kill him too?" I exclaimed. "Chill, dude." "Chill, dude. Remember the airport level in Modern Warfare 2? He said, trying to calm me, referencing a level from one of the previous games where he had to go into an airport and kill innocent people. I shrugged it off and let him do the work. After the deed was done, suddenly the screen went black. All you could hear was just screaming. It wouldn't stop, like it was the screams of the people we had just killed. I had enough. So I turned off the game and went to bed. The next morning, I followed my normal routine. I made coffee and then I went on my computer to check the news. But something was different. On the top of the front page, a headline read, "Young boy shot and killed, along with mother and father. No suspects." Well, for starters, if players are finding glitches like that in your game, then you need to fire every QA tester you have. Because how does a glitch like that slip through the cracks? I really do not understand this story on a fundamental level, and I don't mean that in a snarky, negative way. It's just, okay, so this glitch is something that a lot of people have talked about, apparently. Did they also have to kill people?
It would protect me!
To be fair, the only reason the protagonist found out about the reality of what he and his friends did was by following his morning routine and reading the news. So hypothetically, it's possible that all of the other people who did the glitch just never found out that they were killing real people. But I'd also like to imagine that if an entire family was found shot dead in their homes with no signs whatsoever of forced entry, struggle, hell, even fingerprints or the gun used to kill them, that it would probably become a fairly unavoidable case in the news, even for your average 13-year-old transit enjoyer. Then again, most creepypastas aren't exactly known for their impeccable and flawless logic, so it's probably fruitless to keep poking for holes. Although I do think it's hilarious that the protagonist's friends have no reservations or qualms whatsoever with killing literal children.
"It's only a game," he responded. "This is getting disturbing way too fast."
I mean, when in Rome, I guess. I'm not gonna act like if I was a kid and, rode the bus and got into the house and was in that position, I wouldn't have just... if I didn't know it was real. That being said, for a story released 13 years ago and written by a fairly young author,
Bus, and then you'll arrive at the new destination.
Round 99 isn't written terribly. I myself am not a grandmaster in the English language, as you could probably tell already, and without going overboard with... oh, my fucking god. But from a quick examination, I didn't find any major grammatical errors, at least any big enough to take me out of the story. Overall, the plot of Round 99 is really interesting, if not kind of confusing, but despite my, I guess, I wouldn't even really call them issues, I guess my nitpicks, it's still a pretty entertaining read, even if it's just not scary. If I were to give this a letter grade, it would be C+. For our last story, I had to wrap back around to flip the script to close things out. I didn't choose this pasta for any particular reason. It just looked kind of interesting. It has woods on the thumbnail and it looks kind of badass. This is Blackout by Flip the Script. I love drinking, let me tell you. I love Call of Duty, and I am so excited for Black Ops 4. Multiplayer seems decent enough. Zombies is, well, zombies. But what I'm most excited for is Blackout. I mean, I destroyed people in the beta. I was so happy to get out of rehab the same day the multiplayer beta dropped. I fell in love with it. Then the Blackout beta came out, and like that, I found my calling. I knew I wouldn't be the next Ninja.
The fuck you say?
Or in COD terms, Nade Shot. But I knew I could make my mark. I obsessed over the game. I knew I needed a competitive edge, and these old Turtle Beaches weren't going to cut it if I was going to be the next big streamer. I went on Craigslist to find a pair of good headphones for cheap, since you have to buy the season pass up front this year. I searched for a few days and I found a halfway decent pair of used A40s they priced at $59.99. The description read, used for 1 week, no use for them anymore. With all of the pictures checking out, I bought the A40s. I left them in the box until Black Ops 4 came out. It was so great playing it. They fixed a ton of issues from the Blackout beta, and now it just runs so smoothly. It isn't a Fortnite killer by any means, however, it has its place in this genre. The first night of the game was amazing. I had 2 wins already, and I thought I would start streaming soon. No sooner than when I said that, my game loads up duos and puts someone in my party. I leave, but when I try to search, it puts me back into duos with the same person.
The fuck you?
No big deal. On launch night, things glitch, it happens. I turn my Xbox off and I get ready for bed. The morning came and I logged on, hoping my issues from last night were addressed. They were, and I was able to play some more solos. The games that followed put me into a random Xbox Live party chat. I did mine because I didn't want anyone in game to somehow hear me. Games go by and it tells me someone joined the party, but the letters were all different symbols. I try to kick him, but nothing. There wasn't even an option to leave the party.
Hello?
I said.
Hello.
A voice said back to me.
Hey, do you want to play duos with me?
The voice said. Realizing that the game was glitching again, I decided to make the best of this bad situation. I decided to play.
He's dead, dead. One dead.
Nice.
There's a helicopter.
Bro, stop. They're gonna come kill us.
What do you mean, bro? Help me shoot it. I'm gonna kill him. Yes. Keep driving. It's on fire. What the fuck? Oh my god. Dude, how are these not hitting?
My god, your aim is ass, dude.
Bro.
Holy shit. Do you
Where are
see
they
them?
going, bro? What? Yeah, they're over there on the roof.
Where? I don't see it.
No, come on.
Bro, get down
I'm trying to hit him from here.
I'm running.
He's dead.
Nice.
He's dead. How was he alive? Just one more. Yes! Good shit, bro. Good shit. Yes, bro.
We drop Asylum and he just keeps talking to me. He won't stop. I told him to focus on the game, but what he told me next made me question everything that's happened. How he acted shifted, and he told me exactly what I have on, and he asked me how my drinking was going. My heart started to beat really fast. What are you talking about? I said. He proceeds to tell me the exact brand of beer that I'm drinking at this very moment. I try to leave the game, but it won't let me. I get up to try to unplug my Xbox. Then I hear,
sit down.
It echoes through the headset and it sends shivers down my body. I listened.
You're going to drink. You're going to drink all of this.
I look, and it's all of my whiskey and all of my beer. I tell this person that this was impossible and I would surely die of alcohol poisoning, but it didn't matter. Whatever he told me to do, my body did it as if this headset's wave frequency was affecting my nervous system, I reached for the whiskey and I drank all of it. I beg. I beg for my life. I beg for the voice to stop, and he tells me to be quiet.
Touch your bitch
I
ass
still
up.
plead. I plead for my life, asking him to let me go. Let me go to the hospital before it was too late. Now, for the nail in the coffin, the voice said,
I go to the 12-pack, and I drink one, and I drink another, and another.
Before I knew it, I'm on my 6th one. I start to lose all feeling in my body, and I start to feel like I'm not here anymore. It's the alcohol, and it's making me pass out. I drank too much. I'll surely die.
Good night.
Hi, I'm listing a pair of A40s. They were my brothers. They're lightly used. They're a great steal. Only used for 2 days. Only $59.99. Not gonna lie, for a Call of Duty creepypasta, that was not terrible by any stretch of the imagination. Maybe this dude is a Shakespeare of Call of Duty horror stories, because between this and Respawn, I feel like I'm coming away from my readings a lot more entertained and honestly impressed than I ever thought I'd be. Blackout was very interesting because it feels less like a creepypasta and more like a cautionary anti-alcohol PSA, because nothing about the story is scary or even really tries to be scary, and I think that makes it hold up a lot better compared to Round 99, for example.
One of my online friends instinctively killed them.
Going into the story itself, Blackout revolves around the protagonist acquiring a cheap pair of used gaming headphones from Craigslist to gain a competitive edge over his enemies in Blackout. The trope of the protagonist acquiring an old piece of hardware or media for cheap that eventually turns out to be haunted used to be incredibly prevalent in old, pre-modern creepypastas, with Ben Drown being the most popular example of this. This got so oversaturated that it honestly ruined the genre of gaming creepypastas for a long time, but I suppose time does make the heart grow fonder, because I really didn't mind Blackout's use of it. But the involvement of the headphones does raise a lot of narrative questions. So he buys the headphones, which he specifies are A40s. I'm not familiar with A40s. I'm guessing Flip really didn't like them because the protagonist buying these literally cost him his life.
All the pictures checked out and I bought the A40s. Good night.
And the life of every single person who previously owned them. But to be fair, it's not clear if the entity haunting his Blackout sessions is like a manifestation of the A40s in question, or simply has a massive weird vendetta against people who own them. In any case, I do think the overall concept of the story is executed pretty well, and the twist ending does pay off the relatively uninteresting setup in a way that obviously required some effort to workshop into something that made sense. The way the protagonist dies is also pretty sad. I mean, he's literally made to drown in his own addiction. It makes me wonder if, like, every previous owner of the A40s also died due to some kind of forced indulgence. Like, if the last dude who owned them was a massive smoker and was made to smoke like 2,000 cigs just to kill himself. What do you want? What do you want me to do?
Oh, so you're a smoker, huh? You're gonna smoke 2,000 cigarettes.
What? I can't do that! Which, for a Call of Duty creepypasta to have me legitimately thinking and working out the story is honestly really impressive and was not what I was expecting. I was honestly expecting to shit on these stories, so to speak, which is why I had that whole disclaimer bit in the beginning about me not like being personal, like me not using or writing these reviews to be personal, but I'm pleasantly surprised. Blackout is easily the best out of the three I've covered today, and if my reading made you at all interested in checking out the original, I'll have the link to it in the description below. If I had to give Blackout a letter grade, it would be B+. And with the readings complete, let's wrap up and move on to the outro. Call of Duty Creepypastas. Are they scary? No, not really. But they're definitely entertaining. And what more can you really ask of them? Out of the 3 tales I covered today, I honestly think Call of Duty horror stories could and should make a massive comeback in 2026. Let's all make that happen by showing support to these authors and also showing support to me. Because for this video, I decided to bust out my own pencil and write my own Call of Duty Creepypasta. And I promise you, you will not be leaving this video without shit in your pants, because this is the single scariest piece of literature ever conceived. I present to you The Ugly Barnacle. Let's take a listen. Oh, hey, you're finally awake. That video was long, wasn't it? Put you right to sleep. I would have been offended, but it looked like you needed the rest anyway. Well, luckily for you, there's a lot more where that came from. If you're interested in more content just like this video, I kept this little nice surprise just for you. It's a new video. Or, it's old, but it's new for you. And if you're interested in seeing more content just like this, please head over to my profile page and smash that Kaiser Nut button. As always, thank you for making it this far, Kaiser Nutters. Now then, get back to sleep. I command you to.
One of my online friends instinctively killed them.